Hey, Stillwater. Welcome to the Still Connect podcast, the show all about our amazing town, Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'm your host, Denver Evans. I grew up right here and now run Stillwater Digital Marketing, so this place is home through and through. Every week, I sit down for a laid-back chat with someone who's helping build community here in Stillwater. Whether you've been here forever or you're just dropping by, this is your spot to plug in, hear some great stories, and feel a little more connected to the people who make Stillwater what it is. Here's the best part. This is a mobile podcast, so I've recorded all of these interviews in these local businesses. So if you like watching your podcast, check them out on Spotify or YouTube. I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm here with Kayla Peters with Roundhouse Bakery. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well. So give us kind of an overview of the business. What all do you guys do here at Roundhouse?
We are a from-scratch bakery, so we create a lot of cakes and pretty simple line of pastries, just kind of a southern comfort food, desserts and cakes primarily. And we do everything from scratch, from the baking process to the filling to the buttercream. So we buy all of our ingredients in bulk. We start with a lot of unbleached ingredients, which is primarily just for flavor enhancement. All of the ingredients that we use are not really just to be healthy, but I say unbleached flour has more flavor than white flour. And so it gives that, I just think it gives a lot of flavor that most bakeries don't use, and we think it kind of makes it unique for us. So we love to do that. And then the unbleached sugar as well. I think it gives just a little hint of brown sugar in some places where it would normally just be like white sugar. You wouldn't have that much flavor. And also, I think it's softer. I noticed a lot of my cakes and pastries were coming out softer with the unbleached sugar. And so that was kind of one of my biggest reasons for keeping that. So, but yeah, that's just kind of in general what we're about. And then we have a coffee shop, espresso bar, and tea, and gourmet Italian cream sodas and things like that, just to kind of go with it. And you can come in and have like a little tea party with your desserts. So
very cool. And we're sitting in the tea room.
Yes.
And so what do you guys use this room for?
Primarily events. We rent them out for other people to use for smaller scale parties and micro events. But we use them for our workshops when we host little gatherings to show people how to ice cakes or decorate things. That was kind of the original vision. And then we wanted to kind of be able to do both. So
awesome. Have you been having a lot of those events lately?
Yes, we have. We've been doing what we call cake camps for the summer especially. And they're geared towards kids and beginner levels. But we've had like a mixed assortment of adults and kids. So they've been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you guys do those year round or?
Yes, we do them year round. We especially do them in the summer when it's slower. But we've been trying to do them in the holidays in the fall as well. And I think we'll try to get our fall camps published by the end of July is the goal.
Awesome. Very exciting.
Yeah.
So how did you end up here doing this?
Long story. About over 10 years ago, I started baking as a bake sale for like a fundraiser. And it was particularly for a project we were working on, and it was for a roundhouse. And so that's kind of how it got its name. We were, at the time, trying to remodel a geodesic dome house that was built in the 70s, and it had a lot of basic structure to it, basically a shell and some windows, but it needed to be completely gutted and built from scratch. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of one of my first motives. But I had also been baking since I had been a child. So it was something I was familiar with, but not necessarily as a career path. Mm-hmm. It was just something I grew up in. I was the oldest of 8 kids, and we baked a lot and cooked from scratch all day long. And so that was just kind of an avenue of creativity for me. Mm-hmm. And I never really imagined I'd open a bakery, but when I started baking and doing bake sales for the holidays, people were like, can you please bake this for me for this event? Mm-hmm. And so then I decided, well, I could do this kind of part-time out of my house. So I called the State Department of Health, and I was like, what all do I need to do to start a bakery out of my house and be legal? And they were so helpful. And I remember at the time he was saying that you need at least, like, you can only have up to 4 bake sales a year, and your income needs to be under this number, and you can only use these kind of ingredients.
Oh, wow.
And this is, if you follow the rules, you'll be fine, as long as no one complains. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. So I started out of my kitchen, and I had to put a little sticker on everything that said, not inspected by the State Department of Health. So I had to just, leave that disclaimer.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the early phase of the entrepreneurship, kind of like I call it, like, instead of my garage band, it was my garage bakery.
Oh, yeah.
So we turned our garage into a commercial kitchen.
Cool.
And we got the first oven we have is actually in this place too. I originally thought I was going to be doing like breads, muffins, scones, kind of what you would see at farmers markets. But the demand for cakes was so overpowering, and people just kept asking for cakes. I guess because it's just easier to order a cake than it is to order a loaf of bread. So that became the primary focus. So it kind of pivoted in a totally different direction. And I started noticing that as a stay-at-home mom, it was easier to do the wedding cakes and the larger orders instead of just handling a lot of like smaller sales and cookies and breads. So that's kind of how it pivoted to the cakes.
Okay.
And then the cakes became a primary part of our structure of our sales. And then we did wedding cakes, and then we started hauling 3-4 tier wedding cakes off to venues. And
Oh, gosh.
we got in Brides of Oklahoma, or actually it's called Wed Society now.
Yes.
But previously known as Brides of Oklahoma. So we kind of we joined that magazine for a while, and we were I was like, whoa, we were just weddings all the time. That's all we did. And this is one of actually our cake safes that we used to transport our wedding cakes in.
Oh, very cool.
So we've had that for a long time. I think that was a $400 investment like 7 or 8 years ago. So anyway, so when we came here, long story short, it was kind of shortly after the 2020 wedding COVID crash,
Right.
where a lot of our weddings got canceled. And so we were thinking, what can I do to have a little more sustainable, like
clientele
and not so event based.
Right.
And that's when our birthday cakes really soared up, or the birthday cake sales started soaring. And we saw, we did a little pop-up market called, it's at Block 34, previously before the renovation started. It was all the little dome pop-ups.
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank.
Mary Main Street.
Mary Main Street
Yeah.
thing. I can never forget that. It's like got on the spot here. But yeah, Mary Main was our first little pop-up shop after that situation, and we did really well. I never dreamed I would bring a bakery to Stillwater. I just didn't know if we had the clientele here. But the market proved otherwise, and that's kind of when the doors started opening to come into this building. And so we were like, okay, let's do it. Let's do this. And so it took about 2 years, I think, from that point till we actually opened. So it was a long wait. We did farmers market in between that time frame. And we had hired a whole bunch of employees for the opening. And then because it was a year later when we actually opened, some of those employees didn't end up being a part of the opening process. But so we had to kind of like pivot a couple different times and figure out, like, how do we want to make something that was kind of an event-based, almost catering style? How do we make it retail? So it was a pretty big jump for me, and we learned a lot. And we're still learning and still just trying to like serve the community and like make sure that what we're actually bringing to the table is what people want here.
Right.
And I think the biggest change was that what we were doing before, we were primarily doing a lot of events in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And so we felt like the Stillwater community kind of wanted something just a little bit different. So it took a little while, but I think we are really happy with what we have going on now. And it's young. It's a young business still. So
Yeah. Was the espresso bar side a lot to learn?
yes, that was definitely not something I had initially thought we would do really well in, because baking was primarily the focus.
Right.
But we wanted, like, I had a friend that had told me, like, Kayla, you have to do coffee with your baking. I mean, it's like a no-brainer. So we're like, okay, so we did that, and we don't. I'm so glad we did. So
Very cool.
just makes it nice, complete.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part of being a business owner?
When I get to take off and go home. No, it's not true, but probably the community, getting to meet people I've never would have met otherwise, and getting to make connections with people that have become my best friends. I grew up pretty isolated, and I was in a homeschool environment and also in a separate cult group as well, and had not truly was able to bring any of my past relationships into my the future with me. And so it was really it was just really sweet to kind of get to build my life, start over. And I believe that the bakery was a huge part of that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome. So do you have any big plans coming up for the business? Any changes, any new events, or just kind of rocking and rolling?
Nothing major. We're just trying to get organized.
Yeah.
and that's kind of been my focus of trying to provide people with a better experience. I think our biggest focus will be our tea room rentals and providing tea parties and more full service type events, so people can come in here and just be served, and they can sit down and everything's ready for them.
Right.
That's kind of my next big goal.
Yeah.
That we're not quite there yet.
I bet that's really convenient for people who are looking for maybe a really small venue like this room for, maybe 8 to 12 people or something like that, and also want baked goods.
Yes.
It's you can just come in here and have the whole thing all at once.
Yes.
So
exactly.
That's really cool that you're. So is that something that you all do here? Is that what you meant by full service events?
Yes, we do cater. When we make our desserts, and this is something I didn't tell you before, was when we initially started, we had really large portion desserts when we first opened this building. But previously to that, we'd only done catering style portions where they were miniatures.
Right.
And so we kind of went to this huge adjustment, trying to make larger sizes portions like we would sell at farmers market. And I was like, how do we merge this catering side of our business with our retail? And I really wanted for people to be able to come in the day of game day where they're going to be tailgating, and they can come in and they can grab a box full of smaller portion desserts and get a whole variety pack.
Right.
So it's not gigantic cinnamon roll they have to cut in half, and one big huge cookie over here they have to cut 4 ways. So we were like, I know it's going to be a huge change. Let's go back to what we were doing. Let's do the catering size pieces, and then we can offer discounts if they get a bigger bundle.
Right.
And at any given moment, you can come in and get a desserts for your birthday party.
Yeah.
Or desserts for an event. So we kind of made, that was kind of a big jump, because some people were telling me, well, now they aren't going to buy a huge $8 cinnamon roll. You're going to only be selling them for $3, and you're going to take a huge loss. And so I kind of knew that risk. And I think that's been we saw the sales drop initially, but we were in the long term, though, it's so much more efficient.
Right.
And we feel that we're building back the momentum of what we had before, where they can come and expect to get a bunch of little desserts for their event, and it works out good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that makes sense. It's easier to do one thing for your entire business than 2 very different things that require so many different systems and changes.
Yes.
And
We need large cinnamon rolls for the front. We need miniature cinnamon rolls for Sue's wedding. And it was just so much was going on. And I was like, what are we doing? So it really helped a lot.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you wish people knew about your business that they maybe don't just by walking in here?
That we really care about their feedback. I think some people are hesitant to share if they had a bad experience, or maybe hesitant to say if they had a good experience. And we love to hear the good and the bad, because we want to grow and we want to do better. And I love, I'm surprised how many people don't realize that we make everything from scratch, and we're not a chain restaurant or bakery.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot count how many people have just assumed we were not local.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we were like literally right here, Payne County. This is where it all began.
Yeah. When local businesses do things really well, they do kind of feel like a chain. And I mean, that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
Because with a chain, you get, all of your branding, you get,
Yeah.
very clear instructions on what your space is supposed to look like. And all of that is approved by like 50 different people doing all of the different parts of it. And so when a small business does that and achieves that level of excellence, people come in and they're like, oh, clearly this is a chain, but you guys are just like awesome for achieving that.
Oh, well, we try. I feel like that we do mess up, and sometimes people get frustrated, like as if we were corporate and they could just come get a refund and it doesn't affect anybody. And I don't go home and cry on my pillow at night. And I actually cry tears because we messed up an order, So there's a lot of moving parts, and like learning how to create better systems and learn how to train and like communicate. And like, it's a lot, but it's also part of, your responsibility when you open a business is to learn how to do it, or else.
Yeah.
So
what has your experience with Stillwater been like?
I'm very receptive, but a little slow because we are downtown. We're not in the limelight with traffic. There was also a lot of construction going on for a long time. So I felt overlooked and overshadowed by that a little bit. Not that it was anyone could have controlled it. That was just how it goes. So being a little bit hidden is, it makes it slower. Seasons that other people would get more traffic and it would stable out. But I feel like we're building a little bit more of a presence, and so that's slowly kind of becoming less and less of an issue.
Yeah.
But other than that, people have been super receptive. And a couple times people come in like, do you have any real food?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any like thing that's not sweet? Do you have anything like normal food? And I'm like, well, we are a bakery.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everything's going to be sweet here.
Notice on the door it says bakery.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, but I think sometimes people have an idea of like bakeries that have like breads and delis and like the deli with the sandwiches and salads. So I'm like, well, that's what Hatch is for.
Yeah, true. Right next door.
Go over next door.
But also, once again, if we were a bakery and deli, it would say bakery and deli.
Exactly. That's true. That is true. That is true. So sometimes I wonder, like, are we doing it right? Because anyway, but it's fine. So.
Well, and that seems like a very natural expansion that I feel like a lot of bakeries make, because it's like, okay, if we're already baking stuff, like the next thing we can add on is like
the sandwich.
The sandwich. Yeah. I mean, that's just like what else goes with a bakery than like a sandwich, bread,
Yeah.
So.
And we do little savory tea party hors d'oeuvres that are like small, like for micro events and things like that. But they're not like, we don't just keep them in the case.
Right. Didn't you guys do breakfast sandwiches for a little while?
We have a breakfast croissant.
Okay.
So it's like our croissant with the egg and bacon and cheese inside.
Yeah.
But we keep them in the hot case, and they're just made fresh every morning.
Right.
And then when they sell out, they sell out.
Yeah.
So, but those are really good. We also have a soft pretzel bun that we do that really became popular at Farmers Market. And so we've just been making them ever since. And it's a little bit of a tribute to my past Mennonite Amish upbringing.
Yeah.
Where soft pretzels were a really big Sunday dinner tradition, and then you put them in like sauce and things like that. So we were like, let's make a soft pretzel sandwich. And
Very
so
cool.
we do those to order now because we just don't like putting them in the warmer, and then they don't get very fresh after a while. So one of my bakers has been experimenting with a soft pretzel hot pocket.
Oh.
And so she's been rolling. This is like totally new right now.
Yeah.
She's rolling it out, putting all the filling inside, and then baking it like that. And it's made, and then she's dipping it in the hot water like you would do a soft pretzel.
Right.
So they're really good. They're surprisingly, they're really fun. So we may keep that. We may just do that instead of the sandwich.
Very cool. Well, stay tuned, folks.
Yeah.
Follow.
You can get them right now. We have them in the case right now.
Oh, yeah?
Or not like today, but when we're open.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, everyone follow on social media to make sure that you know what their new stuff is.
And tell us if you like the pretzel hot pocket, and be honest.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for tuning in to Still Connect. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Kayla. Be sure to check out Roundhouse Bakery on all their social media, linked in the show notes below. And if you loved today's episode, don't forget to follow the podcast on social as well. And be sure to share the podcast with all of your Stillwater friends so that we can grow the podcast and our community. If you believe in building community through these conversations, consider supporting the podcast on Patreon, where, for less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can get early access to episodes, a peek behind the curtain at the podcast process, and a shout out on an episode. With a higher contribution, you can submit questions for upcoming guests, make special requests for the show, get access to online Q&As, and even be on the podcast for an interview segment. And I want to give some of those people a shout out. Currently, we have one Stillwater patron sponsor, Darren Huddleston. Thank you so much. No matter what your capacity for supporting the podcast is, every little bit helps grow this amazing community. And remember, we all need community. So even when life gets busy, make sure you still connect.